Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Keanu, which I'm not even sure is still in the theater, but that's what we're going to talk about this week.
We are timely.
That's right. It's the feature film debut of Key Peele from the fantastic sketch show that used to run on Comedy Central. I mean, yeah, those first two seasons are rock solid, Matt, of Key and Peele. The last one, okay, right? But still, especially Substitute Teacher, may be one of my all-time favorite sketches. You can Google that. Odds are you've already seen it. I will tell you what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. And then we're also going to talk. We're starting our big. We have a title for this yet? Our embarrassment marathon. All the classic films we haven't seen yet.
I mean, it's only 5 films. I mean, it could have been much longer. So I don't know.
So we're going to talk. We're starting that off tonight with a little film called Gone with the Wind.
You may have heard of it.
Yes. So, and then finally, we'll close everything out with our favorite fill in the blank game, TFR Libs. But first up, let's take a listen to Key and Peele in Keanu.
Hey, man. How are you? How you doing?
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Are you okay?
Maisie broke up with me.
Well, it's gonna be okay.
You're right, Clarence. I want you to meet Keanu.
No. Oh my God, that's the cutest guy I've ever seen in my life. Why's your door open?
Keanu.
Keanu! I'm sorry.
Oh, what's up, bro?
I'm here because my place got broken into. Has anyone shady come by here?
I mean, the 17th Street Blips.
The 17th Street Blips. Okay, where are they?
17th Street.
Let's just go check it out. What's the worst that can happen?
One beer, please.
I'll take a white wine spritz.
Clarence.
Yeah. What?
You can't talk like that.
You sound like John Ritter all the time.
You in the right place?
Yeah, we're in the right place.
Tectonic.
Nice. My name is Shark Tank. Oh.
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
Cheddar's got Keanu.
We in the market right now for like a gangster pet.
You serious?
Okay, Matt. So why don't you tell us, the kids at home, what's Keanu about? I mean, is it just some kind of Keanu Reeves vanity project that they did, or what's going on here?
Essentially, it's about 2 middle-class guys. One of them's a bit of a stoner. One of them's got his life a little bit more together. And the stoner guy, he finds a cat, which I guess gives him a reason to live. I think the whole premise is that his girlfriend broke up with him, and he's suicidal, and he finds his cat, and he loves it. But apparently this cat belonged to a Mexican cartel drug dealer. So
They usually do.
All kinds of people are after it for whatever reason, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, that's why I'm a dog. That's why I'm a dog person.
Yeah.
Matt. So yeah, I guess what's interesting about it. So they go and try and rescue the cat, right, and get it back from the new drug dealer that has it, because the first drug dealer who had the cat dies. He gets I don't know. I think assassinated is a little too hoity-toity a term. He gets murdered by a rival drug dealer.
He's hit.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, I'm just not that cool. So they go on a rescue mission. They end up posing as these badass assassins, the Allentown boys, which is preposterous from the very get-go, which is part of the humor. And then all the crazy stuff that happens as they try and get the cat back for Mr. Jordan Peele. Now, I saw, for the listeners at home, I saw little air quotes there with hilarity ensuing. So I'm getting the feeling that you did not find this film that amusing.
Honestly, I didn't. The jokes were kind of stale for the most part. I think I can honestly say I laughed. Well, and I chuckled. I maybe chuckled twice. And even one of the parts that I really liked was his love of George Michael. I think it kind of went on for a really long time and was really a through line that didn't really hold itself throughout the entire film. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these weird action comedy hybrid things where it can't really decide what it wants to be. Parts of it are funny, but I mean, as a whole, it's just kind of blah.
Yeah, I'm tending to agree with you. I found this film to be like Neighbors was for me, where I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it wasn't necessarily funny, right? It had some. I did have quite a few laugh out loud moments. I probably laughed out loud probably 10 times or so, which for some comedies nowadays I think is still a feat in itself. So I did really enjoy it. I got to admit, I really struggled with the George Michael scene, which is weird because if you know me, you know I'm a huge George Michael fan. And it wasn't I didn't think they were making fun of him. In fact, quite the opposite. It's just that that whole, like you said, that whole portion of the film felt very forced to me. It felt like, what would be funny? What if we made one of the guys like George Michael? I could feel like the thought process unfolding to do it. And then we get the gangsters gangstas. I want to be correct. It gets them to like George Michael too, not knowing who he really is. That felt really kind of just contrived to me. So that was disappointing.
Yeah.
But I still felt overall the film was pretty steady. I enjoyed it. I thought it was strong just throughout the whole thing. I enjoyed it, but I think that's the most I can say. I like absurd comedy, and I think it's at times it really achieves that. It does a good job with it. But and also I should say too, I was never bored. At no point was I kind of looking at my watch and wondering when is this thing going to end. So it's enjoyable enough. It could have gone horribly wrong. It doesn't feel like, because a lot of these sketch comedy guys, when they do a film, sometimes it feels like a sketch that's been drawn out way too long, right? That doesn't substantiate its hour-and-a-half running time. And I didn't have that problem. So I guess there is a minor victory.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. You're right. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't think this is going to make it into the pantheon of things that I'm going to be like, oh, this is so funny, you have to watch it. I think that's a very small group of films for me, and this definitely doesn't crack that. It's just going to be one of those things where if you happen to catch it on cable, for that one funny scene, you'll say, oh, yeah, that was funny, and then you'll flick the channel and go to the next thing. I mean, if you're a big fan of Key and Peele, I guess check it out, but which you probably already have if you're a big fan of Key and Peele, but yeah, I think for everybody else, I mean, it's it's a Redbox special for me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think I would say there's no need to run out and see the theater at this point, but I don't know if you even can. And I think one of the more troubling performances I had with the film too is Tiffany Haddish, who plays High C, who has an interesting, I don't want to say interesting, but has a turn in her character that's kind of obvious, but not. I don't know. I didn't really buy into her, or especially her and her relationship with Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
As well. I didn't really care so much for that. So. Yeah, and what did you think about the Anna Faris thing? I felt like that was another thing too, like the George Michael thing that was shoehorned in. Like, let's work in some other stars and kind of. Right. I feel like it was very kind of like something different. Like, well, we got to figure out how to get a nice, funny cameo into this.
Yeah.
So how about this?
It was okay. I mean, it was Anna Faris being Anna Faris or Anna Faris. It was kind of a cop out at the end, where they kind of like hand waved everything that happened away. But I mean, playing the crazy celebrity, I mean, it's I guess it's an archetype, and I guess it's something she does well. What I would have really liked, though, what I thought would have made it even better is because she's married to Chris Pratt. If they were both there, that would have been funny.
Yeah, I may have enjoyed that a little bit more too, but I think he was probably too busy making this. I'm sure it's going to be god awful Magnificent Seven remake. Mm-hmm. I saw a new trailer for that the other day too, and it's just. As soon as I saw like Anton Fuqua, director of Training Day at Equalizer, I'm like, yeah, I know who he is, and I avoid everything he makes now like the plague. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's the thing. I want to talk quickly too about absurdist humor. I'm going to go on a tangent here for a minute. Have you ever seen? Because I guess this kind of made the rounds. I think from the AV Club was promoting it. Cause I don't know if it was on Up Rocks, if that's the name of it. I can't recall. But there was a discussion about the potato chip thief sketch on Saturday Night Live from like 3 or 4 years ago. Have you ever seen it?
No, it's not ringing any bells for me.
You just Google it when you get a chance. Basically, it's Jason Sudeikis and Will Forte, and it's Will Forte plays a NASA guy, and Sudeikis plays a guy who wants to be an astronaut. But it's so bizarre because it starts an establishing shot of NASA, but then they go into this like just disturbingly depressing office from like right out of the 70s with wood paneling and stuff, and very simple and plain. And Sudeikis plays it like as Foghorn Leghorn with his accent. And it's just so, and the whole thing is about how Forte leaves the office, but before he goes, don't eat the potato chip. any of my chips. And Sudeikis eats a chip, and then everything goes crazy from there. I can't. Okay. It's just it's the 10-to-1 sketch. If you're not familiar with SNL's 10-to-1 sketch, it's the last one of the night, and that's the one where they get to be a little crazy and to experiment more. Those tend to be my favorite ones I've noticed lately nowadays.
Yeah.
Because and sometimes they fall flat, sometimes they do, but other times they're just pure genius, and I think this is one of them. So if you haven't
sometimes
seen,
you get pageant talk, which was
exactly the first
amazing.
The first few of those were absolutely brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
Moe Shandon. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so you get a chance to check that out. That's my little diversion.
I'll go check it out.
All right. Anyway, Keanu, shoot us an email. Let us know your thoughts or your shots or whatever words I'm trying to say. You can reach us at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, Blu-ray and DVD Picks is upcoming, or actually this past Tuesday, we'll say, May 24th. The finest hours. This Captain Kirk leads a bunch of people on a boat to rescue a bunch of other people stuck on a boat in the waters, and everybody has a Boston accent. That's getting released with a Blu-ray, digital copy, ultraviolet, a couple behind-the-scenes featurettes, and some deleted scenes. Matt, I feel like a movie nobody seemed to call for, but it finally came out 15 years later. Zoolander 2.
Okay.
It's getting its release on Blu-ray. If you get it from Target, an exclusive packaging and a 45-minute bonus disc. Walmart comes with a selfie stick. And I think there's a steel book, I think, floating out there somewhere. I haven't confirmed this. I don't know. Probably Best Buy, because they seem to be the steelbook people. So, Zoolander 2. Listen, I thought the first film was fine. I never felt an urge for a sequel. And I think the fact that you wait 15 years, you're basically cutting yourself off at your knees at that point. Now, there's no drive for you to see Zoolander 2, right? Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, I'm not really a member of that cult, but it's a look at like Anchorman and Anchorman 2. I adore Anchorman, but, Anchorman 2 kind of worked out the same way, in my opinion.
Anchorman 2, I think, has its moments still, though. The whole blind thing didn't really work for me. But is it like a Spaceballs thing where a lot of people just absolutely love it, and I don't think it's particularly funny, and I don't get it? Is it that kind of thing?
I think so. I think there's a very dedicated cult to Zoolander. But I think I'm with you. I mean, it's got its moments, but it's not anything great.
Fair enough. Well, there's a chance to see it. How to Be Single is being released on Blu-ray. That's the one with Dakota Johnson and Rebel Wilson, and then, of course, Allison Brie. Includes deleted scenes, gag reel, and Rebel Wilson gets her own outtakes reel. So you can focus just on her being hilarious, which I think she is. New to Blu-ray, Criterion is giving us their release of The Player, which I'm exceptionally ecstatic to pick up. Granted, I'll wait for the next Barnes & Noble sale. But it's a new 4K digital restoration. Includes the audio commentary from '92 by Robert Altman, of course, the director of the film. Some deleted scenes, outtakes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you're a Player fan, they can get probably the definitive edition from Criterion coming up. Manhunter, Matt, the first Silence of the Lambs film, the first, I should say, Hannibal Lecter movie, right, by Michael Mann, is being released by Scream Factory, and includes a theatrical version of the film as well as a director's cut by Michael Mann, which includes audio commentary by the same man. And from what I understand, though, that the director's cut includes standard definition inserts. They didn't remaster the inserted material HD. So then there's the Manhunter look, a conversation with the cinematographer, and a whole bunch of new special featurettes, including the music of an interview with the director of photography, interview with Brian Cox. It's 40 minutes long. Tom Noonan, who plays the bad guy. What's his name? I can't remember what his name is in that film now. But Brian Cox is Hannibal Lecter. If everybody who's more
the Red Dragon.
Yeah, there you go. Because it was remade later on, right? With Ray Fiennes was the Red Dragon, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was.
So there you go. You had a couple films getting their Blu-ray exclusivity releases, right? So for the next 2 or 3 months, you can only get these at Best Buy. And what's just funny is one of these got brought up in one of our last shows, and that's The Dream Team is getting released on Blu-ray. Money Pit, The Burbs, and The Great Outdoors, all exclusive to Best Buy until August. Bad Influence, James Spader and Robert Lowe is getting released on Blu-ray. 54, the director's cut of the film, is being released as well. And of course, I think we talked about this a while back, Matt. One of the more disturbing films, if they made it today, Zapped, is getting released on Blu-ray as well.
Zapped, wow. And that's Scott Baio?
That's right.
Yeah.
with Willie Ames, where he has some weird powers where he can basically make girls' dresses fly up or something. I don't remember what it is.
Best use of telekinesis ever.
So yeah, absolutely horrible. And then if you haven't heard too, Shout Factory has been releasing the Mystery Science Theater box sets, right? But they recently were able to get the rights to the old out of print ones.
Oh.
And Volume 2, which is an absolute classic, which has Angel's Revenge, Cave Dwellers, Pod People, and then Shorts Volume 1 is being re-released from Shout Factory as well.
That's a good lineup.
So if you missed it the first time. Yeah, would you say Pod People? Good.
Yeah, Pod People is one of my favorites. It's up there, top 5 for me.
Yeah, Trumpy, no. You're straight to DVD pick of the week, Matt. I'm going to go with Paranormal Sex Tape.
Ooh.
Based on true events, which I find hard to believe.
Of course. Yeah,
But based on real events that occurred in Europe in 2010, there are over 25,000 demonic possessions reported each year. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That number sounds kind of inflated to me.
You think so? A lot of 7 billion people. That seems a little, potentially like low, you know.
Fair enough. Many of those who claim to be possessed during sexual intercourse.
Is that your excuse? Dude, I'm sorry for all that weird stuff we were doing. I'm obsessed.
After a steamy night captured on video, a couple watches their sex tape, but they discover something ancient and very evil on the tape, and it doesn't involve beads. Something that's watching them, following them, and possessing them. So, Paranormal Sex Tape. I don't know. I think it's going to be a lost classic. Now's your chance to check it out.
Yeah, get on the ground floor on that.
Yes. All right, Matt. So let's take another break. I want to play a clip from Gone in the Wind, and I'm going to try and find the least racist clip to play you.
Good luck.
Let's take a listen.
Gone with the Wind has captured the imagination and acclaim of the entire world. The screen has never known a love story to compare with this. When Rhett Butler meets Scarlett O'Hara.
I love you more than I've ever loved any woman. And I've waited longer for you than I've ever waited for any woman.
Let me alone.
Kiss me once.
Can't we ever forget that day at 12 Oaks?
Do you think I could ever forget it? Have you forgotten it? Can you honestly say you don't love me?
No, I don't love you.
It's a lie.
Well, even if it is a lie, do you think I'd go off and leave Melanie and the baby?
I'm not cornered. And you'll never corner me, Rhett Butler, or frighten me. You've lived in dirt so long, you can't understand anything else. And you're jealous of something you can't understand. Good night.
It's not that easy, Scarlett. You turned me out while you chased Ashley Wilkes, while you dreamed of Ashley Wilkes.
A love affair you'll remember as long as you live, filled with all the fire and fury of the times in which it happened.
So, Matt, we talked a little bit about when we were doing this marathon. I think this was off radio, too. This was off mic. That we were going to try and track down, just get a list of, or at least come up with the most racist moments that we watch in any of these films. And then we're going to try and not just do numbers, though. We're going to have like a Mickey Rooney, like being, I think for me, Mickey Rooney would be the top. All right, with his performance in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes.
Al Jolson is going to be in there somewhere, and we got some other one. We're working out the beats on that. Okay.
We are.
I feel like I'm getting off on the wrong foot. Let's talk. That's the first thing that pops up.
It's how racist is it scale? Is really what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but it's Gone with the Wind. Considered to be the greatest film of all time by some people, right? It's this neck and neck with this and Citizen Kane. The still, adjusted for inflation, the #1 box office film of all time. Pretty much everybody in the country saw this movie when it came out. All right. If you're not familiar with the story, Vivian Leigh plays Scarlett O'Hara, and this is her story as she's going through pre-Civil War days and the Civil War, trying to basically just save herself and her plantation, Tara, and just have the life that she thinks she deserves. Clark Gable plays the, I don't know what you call him, the Han Solo of the South.
The irascible Rhett Butler.
That's right. And he plays basically a man who falls in love with Scarlett, even though she rebuffs him over and over again for other men, for money and a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, all right. So it's basically just her as she goes through her life trying to survive all of these tragic events. that maybe some people are actually only their own responsibility for. So, Matt, I have one question for you. Is your star supposed to be this unlikable?
I know, right? I was texting some people last night, and I was like, am I supposed to actually like Scarlett O'Hara in this film? Because she is a garbage person in this entire film. She is god awful, and I can't believe we're supposed to root for or be sympathetic to her.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have any sympathy for her at all as this film progresses. All these things that happen to her, first half of them are of her own creation.
Yeah.
She just goes from man to man to what? Just lock in some money and some security because she can't have the guy she really wants, which is a guy she doesn't really even want if she takes a few minutes and gives some self-searching. I don't know. Listen. All right. This film is a sweeping epic. At times, it really is. It has some gorgeous shots. I could have done occasionally maybe with a different theme worked into the music once in a while. Every dramatic moment basically replayed the same Gone with the Wind sound music that every single time. It has some stunning cinematography. The special effects, considering the time, too, are fantastic at times, Yeah. A lot of it's projection and rear screen stuff, but still, it works really well. And some of the performances, I think, are fantastic. Listen, we're doing this because we haven't seen some classic films, and I got to tell you, I think this is my first real exposure to Clark Gable. I haven't seen a lot of his film, if any, which is an embarrassment. In fact, my first real Clark Gable recognition is the old Bugs Bunny cartoon when they go to the club and all the different stars are there, and there's a Clark Gable. That's like the first time, but it's still. I mean, I got to tell you, I think he's fantastic in this.
Yeah, he's one of the more enjoyable things to watch in this film as the complete bastard that is Rhett Butler, but he is fun to watch.
He is, and that's the funny thing too. And one of the notes I wrote down too is that I really liked him. I'm like, see, my notes are like, see, now that's a man's man. That's the kind of guy you're supposed to be. and then he rapes her, and they're like, all right, well, I might not be quite so into him now. Yeah. Marital rape is kind of a different thing, I guess, back then.
Well, he's threatening physical violence all the time.
There's that. Maybe he pushes her down the stairs.
Oh, can I tell you how hard I laughed at that? I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, guys. Just to set the scene, they're in a loveless marriage at this point. He's come back from London. She says that she's pregnant from said rape from earlier, and they're both upset because they don't really want this baby, and they're standing at the top of the stairs, and like in total bastard Rhett Butler fashion, he goes, well, maybe you'll have an accident, and she goes to hit him, and then she literally falls down the stairs as a miscarriage. It was just perfect the way he did it.
I was praying that the baby didn't that the fetus whatever didn't die. But what made me laugh was not just the fall, but it goes black, and then boom, we have the cross with the ribbon of the kid. All right, so they're gonna so we'll kill the kid too. Why the hell not? There are some of the stuff like that. I don't know if it's just an issue of storytelling, condensing the book. But there are certain things like that were horrible, and then a couple things, Matt, I think we just need to talk about. I cringed every time the term mammy appeared in the film. Was an issue for me. The portrayal of the slavery as it being really just not, it's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal for these people,
Yeah.
And there was one scene where I actually got offended, where they were Scarlett was talking to a couple of the slaves, or no, it wasn't Scarlett. I think it was somebody else. But one of them goes, well, golly gee, that's great. Like very jiving and shucking kind of, and I was like, this is horrible. I'm like, I have to place, Chris, put this in a proper context.
1939.
Right. And then too, I mean, there's the critique of Gone with the Wind and its portrayal. It's kind of a rosier portrayal of slavery, which is fair, I think, to critique the film for that. There's also a thing where this was the first Academy Award for an African American.
Yeah.
And it was the first time African Americans had more prominent roles in films. So I mean, for all its poorly dealing with the subject matter, but I guess that's the way you just did it then. I don't know. I really struggle with it, Matt. I really do.
Yeah, and I think part of it is like, I think part of the disconnect and kind of what makes you cringe a little bit is like, so like is like the scenes where it's kind of like the happy servant or the happy slave, like, you know, like the scene where, you know, I think Sherman's beginning his attack on Atlanta and they're marching all the field slaves out to go build trenches for the Confederate Army, and they're just golly gee happy to do it, and they're gonna whip those Yankees, and you know, and they're sitting there, oh Miss Scarlet, we're gonna kick some Yankee butt, and it's like it's just weird, that whole disconnect of, you know, I understand the time it's coming from, but just even just the fact seeing it in a film is just very, you know, it's just very jarring to see.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the most, and for me, it really, when it got started earlier, was at the debutante ball, and all the Southern belles are taking a nap, and they have all the you know, slave children like fanning them and like while they're sleeping. It was just crazy. It was just crazy. This film. It
was really well. Butterfly McQueen too was Prissy. She was the maid, and I don't know how else to put this, but with the poor intelligence. I don't know, that one really bothered me as well. And I got to tell you too, that my laugh out loud moment was, you know, for you, it's when Scarlett takes a hitter and then the kid dies. For me, it was the death of the other kid. I laughed so hard at that because it's so telegraphed from the very beginning what's going to happen. But the way she takes the header and over the jump, it's just the way they portray it. And I think that's where I apologize. That's where I think the cross and the blue ribbon stuff. That was for Bonnie's death. I apologize.
Yeah, it was.
But they had to kill her too.
I know.
I mean, Jesus,
it's bridge too far.
I get that Scarlett's had a tragic life, but she's just not a nice person. Not that she didn't deserve any of this, but she just throughout the film, you know. And I think, and that's where the classic line comes from, right? I don't, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Oh, one other thing, other note too. So everybody, I should say, almost everybody that's of any good heart or purity dies in this film.
It's true. Poor Melanie Wilkes, man. But she was a good egg.
Yeah,
she didn't deserve what she got.
Exactly. Olivia de Havilland, right? Who plays Melanie Hamilton, Melanie Wilkes, just like you said, the wife of Ashley, who Scarlett allegedly really loves. Yeah, just a rock of a person, and they kill her. But here's one of the greatest things about that: when she passes, Dr. Meade is there, and this guy's apparently immortal because you get pre-Civil War, he's like in his 60s, right? And like 20 years passed or something like that, and he looks exactly the same. So we should look into what's going on with Dr. Meade.
It's a laudanum.
And what do you think about the cliffhanger sequel? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. We're still holding out hope. I mean, that book got written, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, they made a TV sequel.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Timothy Dalton and Joanne Whalley.
Okay. I'm sure it was fantastic.
I haven't seen it. I'm sure that would be weird if I couldn't possibly watch it because I hadn't seen the original. So.
I know, you wouldn't know what's going on.
So overall, I don't know. Listen, it's a troubling film.
Yes.
All right. There's a lot to get through. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. I mean, it's a classic for a reason. Like my mother always said that, you know, we were younger and she noticed that I was getting into movies. And she goes, have you ever seen The Godfather? And I go, no. She goes, well, we're going to watch it. And of course, there's the awkward part where Pacino meets up with the Italian girl and you're watching that with your parents. Anyway, at the end of the movie, I'm like, that is fantastic. She goes, oh, Chris, it's a classic for a reason. So I got to tell you, it is a fantastic film with some deeply troubling themes. But it's just a time capsule of it. It's a part of its era, I guess, is all I can tell you.
Yeah. I would agree with that assessment. I don't think I'll ever watch this film again. I may sit down and actually watch The Godfather, but I don't think I'm ever going to sit down and watch Gone with the Wind. Not for the least of which, it's 4 hours long. It is 4 hours long. Yeah, I mean, if you can get past, there's the race issue, there's the kind of violence issue, there's the fact that Scarlett is just awful to watch, and it's a real struggle to even care about her. And and it's also got, it's also 1939. It's got a very stagey kind of, acting. Everything's very over the top. They're still kind of feeling all that out. It's even structured like a stage play with intermissions and stuff like that. So it's a very different viewing experience. I think you need to see it if you're in the film at least once, just to say you've seen it. But I can't ever see myself watching it again.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to sit through it. I shouldn't put it that way, but yeah, I have the same thing. I don't know if I have a high rewatch value just because of the amount of time that passed. Unless I'm playing some kind of weird racist movie drinking game, I can't imagine.
You would be like dead from alcohol poisoning for the first half hour.
I'm gonna watch 12 Years a Slave just to clean my palate this weekend.
There you go.
So if you had a chance to see Gone with the Wind, maybe you were able to take the week off. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, let's go into TFR Libs. This is our favorite fill in the blank game. So we're going to present a scenario, and then we're going to give you a blank, and then we're going to have to fill it in. So I'll start things off for you, Max. I have 4. I don't know how many you ended up with. I got a feeling we're going to have a little overlap too, but
we probably will.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Matt, DC Films naming Jeff Johns co-chief along with WB exec John Berg is blank for the DC Cinematic Universe.
Couldn't get any worse. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think really the thing that they need is if you're looking at the Marvel model, they have, is it Kevin Feige? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Sure.
They have Kevin Feige. He's kind of, corralling the whole thing. He understands the properties. I think they really need that. I mean, granted, I know they don't want to have a house style. They're letting directors do what they want to do to a certain extent, but I think you need that consistency in the story. And Jeff Johns, obviously he's a pretty famous, DC guy who can kind of corral all this stuff. So if he can't do it, then nobody can.
Yeah, back when I got back into comics in college, it was basically due to Jeff Johns. Because, that's not true. That's a lie. I got brought in back with Mark Waid was doing The Flash. And then Waid left, and Johns came in. And just turned things up even another notch, and I absolutely loved it. So he was so Jeff Johns is a big part of that return. Now, eventually I moved away again, though I'm going to pick up his Rebirth thing that's coming out this week. It's supposed to be a course correction for the DC Universe. I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to be up to. Either way, in regards to the actual question itself, I think him being named as co-chief is hopeful. I think that he may be able to right the ship. His whole thing is that he feels that this stuff is supposed to be basically that hope. That's the key to DC is hope. That's what Superman is all about. So if he can kind of right that ship and get this train back on track, and I'm trying to think of any other metaphors that I can squeeze into this. But I really think I'm confident that things are going to turn around a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. It might be too late. They may end up. It depends. If Wonder Woman tanks or Suicide Squad tanks, or let's put it this way: if Justice League gets a D rating and does poorly, then they're going to tank. They're going to blow the whole thing up at that point.
Yeah.
But he's co-writing the Batman film with Ben Affleck. I guess now he's involved with that. They're going to go through and work on the Justice League films too. I don't know. I'm curious what Snyder thinks about all this.
And
who
cares what Snyder thinks about all this?
That's true. And I want to tell him I don't care what you think. Yeah, because you've almost run something into the ground.
You have really screwed this up royally, my friend.
It's something I've been waiting my entire life for. Yeah, and basically he's just exactly. So all right, what do you got?
All right, so sticking with the comic book theme here, because that's what we do around here. So we're starting to get a few more details about Thor Ragnarok, and we all know as loyal listeners of the show how Chris feels about the Thor series. So with Thor Ragnarok being described as a buddy road movie with Thor and the Hulk, Chris will feel blank about Thor Ragnarok.
Chris will feel a little more interested.
Well, that's not enough for you?
If I can get a midnight run with Thor and Hulk, more Mark Ruffalo in Thor, I guess is what I'm saying. I might be more into that.
Okay.
It's maybe the first Thor film that I really like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's possible. So I'd say hearing that description makes me a little more interested, but you're bringing me from on a scale of 1 to 10, you're bringing me from a 2 to a 2.5, maybe a 3. All right. So let's not get all excited about it.
Yeah, I would to answer my own question, I would say I think Chris will feel optimistic about Thor Ragnarok. I'm going to move you from a 2.5 to a 4.5.
Ooh. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Matt, let me ask you. I'm going to go check out The Nice Guys. I was supposed to go see it last night. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. I know we have X-Men coming up this weekend, but I'm definitely going to see The Nice Guys. I've been excited about this film since I saw the first trailer last year or earlier this year. I don't remember which. Let me ask you, though, because I think this actor has had an interesting arc. Russell Crowe is a blank actor.
Russell Crowe is a workmanlike actor, a serviceable actor, I think. I think he's got some movies that are good.
Certainly.
I can't think of very many of them that I would kind of go out and kind of really have a lot of rewatch value for me, or even that I'm really blown away by his performance. But kind of overall taken as a whole, they're decent films. I think the real draw for The Nice Guys is going to be Ryan Gosling, but I think he'd be an all right straight man to be played off of.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this too. I want to say at this point now, Russell Crowe is a character actor. I don't know if he's a lead guy anymore. I think he fits an archetype now. He fits a character, a type, more so than your general. I don't know if he can really open a film anymore.
Right.
But I think if he ages into this type of a role where he plays the heavy, and this is supposed to be kind of a return to that classic kind of buddy action comedy thing. I'm sure it's no Tango and Cash, but it's supposed to be a really good film. And I think this is the kind of role that I think he's going to be, that might be a good fit for him. I don't know if he's going to have a Liam Neeson arc, like we thought about with Patrick Stewart going the villain route.
Right.
I think that's where we are with Crowe now. And I don't want to upset him because he's been known to get violent.
He's not going to find you.
But I think that may be his future now. He's becoming more of a character actor, which, you know what? I would love to see. I think that would be fantastic. Because I got to tell you, I'm one of those people, I was not impressed with A Beautiful Mind. I found the film kind of dull.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it doesn't have any staying power, that's for sure. I mean, really, when I think Russell Crowe, all I can really think of is A Beautiful Mind and Gladiator. That's about it. I go Gladiator, LA Confidential, and The Insider. Yeah, okay, LA Confidential, I will. That is a glaring omission on my part.
And, of course, Robin Hood. He's so
cool. Of course. It's fantastic. No, what was it? Virtuosity?
Yes.
Denzel Washington?
Denzel. Thankfully not directed by Antoine Fuqua.
It would have been loads better. All right, so
Master and Commander, 5-star to the world. Underappreciated film, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film, but I think it's more, I don't know if it's any of Russell Crowe's doing necessarily. I think it's just more tall ships and high seas and pirate stuff. I
would agree with that.
That's more fun.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right, so we had a big announcement in the world of horror films, man. And I think I'm just going to lay it out there.
Who cares?
John Carpenter is producing the next Halloween sequel. So the John Carpenter produced Halloween sequel will be blank.
Serviceable.
You have no faith in Mr. Carpenter?
Listen, I was watching the other day Escape from LA because it's leaving Netflix.
Okay. I haven't seen it in years.
You don't.
Okay.
So I was doing I was watching, I was doing a quick little research. I was thinking, man, this is worse than I even remember it was. And he said that he goes, I think what'll happen is in the future, people will look back at this like they do with The Thing and how it's an underappreciated classic. No, John. No, that's not happening. All right. Escape from LA just doesn't work. It's too goofy. It's just, it's a ridiculous film. I just don't listen. I'm going to say something too. I don't think Halloween is the greatest horror film ever made. I know a lot of people think it's like a trendsetter. It started all this stuff, and actually isn't the first one to do that, by the way. But it's not. I don't know. I've always liked Halloween. I've never loved it. And to be honest with you, if I had to give you a rating, and long-time listeners of the show know this, newer ones are probably going to just delete this episode from their phones right now. If there's one I watch over and over again and I enjoy more, it's 3. I really like Halloween 3. I think because it's just a perfect time capsule of the 80s.
Right.
All the 80s horror, I think Halloween 3 just nails it. Does the ending kind of come apart? Yeah. But still, it's probably the most enjoyable one for me. Tom Atkins, man, he was my go-to guy for horror in the 80s. Either way. So, Matt, I don't remember what I said. Serviceable. I said serviceable. Yeah. And that'll be it. He's a producer, so they're going to ask him some questions. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm sure it'll be light years better than Rob Zombie's, which were just mean, cruel movies that didn't really offer anything. I don't know if it's going to be a reboot or a sequel. I think there's discrepancies between that. So I don't know. It'll be fine. Maybe it'll be good. Who knows? Maybe if they end up casting William Shatner as the Shape, that would be weird and funny and tie everything together.
Yeah, I guess I'll say it will be. I want to be excited for this, but I guess it will be passable. Is probably my guess. I mean, if you look at his filmography, he's got one undeniably brilliant film in The Thing. He's got Halloween, which I enjoy a lot more, and I think part of what, and this may be an unfair assessment of what you're saying, but, I think a lot of people, because it was such a trendsetter, it's been copied so many times, like it seems like it's rote and pat at this point. But, if you kind of go back and look at it, it still holds up. They Live has its charms. Big Trouble in Little China has its charms. But other than that, I mean, a lot of he doesn't have a whole lot as far as films that he's produced. I mean, he's produced really one great film, and I guess I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he can catch lightning in a bottle again. I highly doubt it, but compared to what's come out recently from that franchise, I mean, how could it be really any worse? So it's at least give the original creator a chance to go back and at least to influence the story some. Yeah,
there seems to be a cult following of fans of his Vampires movie from '98, which I don't get at all.
Yeah.
And In the Mouth of Madness has some interesting, freaky moments. I am a huge fan of They Live, which they just showed here down at the Tampa Theater. It's not a great film, but the statement it makes, I think, really works. The satire. Prince of Darkness has its moments for me. Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell just is what saves that film for me. I don't know, but I agree. If some people say Halloween is not his best film, you're entirely right. It's The Thing. It's the greatest film he's ever made, and it's one of the if not the best horror film ever made. I go back and forth with Shining and The Thing. Those are the two I kind of go back and forth with over and over again. I watch The Thing twice a year, maybe. It's that good to me.
It is a fantastic film.
Saw in Precinct 13 too, another one I really like. And you know what? I actually like The Fog too. As an old-timey ghost story, I like The Fog.
So maybe what the best we can hope for is that it'll have its moments. It won't be completely disappointing, but it'll still be flawed.
Yeah. So, Matt, let me ask you this. Netflix getting the streaming rights to all Disney, Marvel, and Lucasfilm's movies this fall is blank.
I was going to ask this exact same question. I'm going to say it's a game changer because this is huge. I mean, these are some of the biggest movies that are out there. Not going to Hulu, not going to Amazon Prime. I don't know how long the deal is for, but I think it's going to make Netflix, even more of a player than it already was.
Yeah, you include their originated shows, right? Their original content.
Yeah.
With the Marvel stuff, Daredevil, which I still haven't gotten past episode 3 yet. But the original content, which has all been pretty solid all across the board. But you lock in this group of films.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Netflix has been getting slapped around lately because of the lack of really quality content of the viewing stuff, right? And let's be honest, it's been bad.
Yeah.
They've been losing stuff for a while now, and they get crap like, Escape from LA. They don't get there's no Escape from New York on there. So to lock in all this stuff, I like your term game changer. I think really this is going to solidify Netflix's, because this is the first time I think this past quarter or whatever, their stock price went down.
Right.
Because that is not just a competition. Well, it is. It's the competition because then there's more streaming things available.
Right.
So you have to pay a higher price for content. I can't imagine. I don't know. Did they say how much this cost them? It's got to be in the billions.
Yeah, I don't know. And I almost wonder if this is kind of a first move on Disney's part to maybe like acquire them. I can see Disney like,
ooh, that's interesting.
Taking this and like, this is our streaming service now. What are you going to do about it?
Wait, billion seems kind of high. I maybe should.
I don't think Netflix could afford billions.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I don't think that's right.
But I think I don't really understand how Netflix works or how, I know they pay for a certain amount of content, but I don't know if they also pay royalties to the thing. So maybe Disney's getting a higher cut of the royalties than they normally would.
So you're saying so I know they pay to stream the rights, right? But you're saying so like Disney gets a quarter every time The Force Awakens gets watched, that type of thing?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, maybe like Escape from LA, they have to pay, I don't know, whatever, $1 to whoever made that, but in this, they have to pay another, $5 for every time The Force Awakens is watched, kind of thing.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, though, I think it's a game. I think it's going to be huge for them. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. There are too many damn options.
There really are.
I am a capitalist, but there are too many options. I can't afford
that's the thing.
to do this.
And there's not enough distinction between all of them. That's the real deal. I mean, 80% of the content is the same on all the services. And it's really, is that extra 20% of stuff really worth it to you?
We got that huge Star Trek debacle coming up. I don't know what I'm going to do about that.
What's the Star Trek debacle?
So they have a new TV show. They're going to do the first episode on TV, and the rest of them are going to be on CBS's exclusive online platform. There's no other show. I don't watch. I watch nothing on CBS.
Yeah,
nothing. I watched the Colbert Show for a while. Even then, I stopped watching that too. Nothing. I'm not.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Girls. Whatever. All right, what do you got?
All right, well, this is my last one because this is obviously, I have the Netflix question as well. So I know we've talked about this before, but I kind of want to get your opinion again because it seems to be marching forward. Big Trouble in Little China remake with The Rock will be blank.
If you said anything else except for The Rock at the end of that sentence, I would have said a disaster.
Yeah.
I guess it depends too. Do we have a director?
That is a good question. I don't know.
It makes, if it's like a Brett Ratner, I'm terrified. Maybe they may not even have. Oh, here you go. Rock has a quick update on his Big Trouble in Little China remake. This is from Cinema Blend.
Okay.
Never question The Rock's status as franchise Viagra. That is a good line. Okay. I don't see anything really quickly here. Fine. Anyway, who cares? Well, I do care because that would make a difference for me. But all right, so with The Rock is exciting. I'll say that. Listen, I don't think there's a more charismatic guy on the silver screen right now. There's a few people that when they're in the movie, I'm like, I got to check that out at some point. Arnold still does it for me. Mm-hmm. You got Bruce Willis has been really on the wane with me lately.
Bruno, he's failing for you?
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I love The Rock. I love that guy. I'd like to get a drink with him and he could make fun of my physical condition and
he's gonna be like, you're gonna work out 6 hours a day, you're gonna eat 5,000 calories worth of steamed cod, and you're gonna look like me.
So yeah, no, I'll say, listen, Big Trouble in Little China is fun, but it's not terribly good. Mm-hmm. All right, it's so maybe
it's one of those again kind of product of its time, and you just kind of gotta go with it, kind of thing. Yeah. I'm have a feeling the thing is going to get really watered down.
You think so?
Or it'll be just vastly different because they're just not going to be able to get away with the Asian stereotype stuff that they have in the original.
That's a fair point. There is a fair amount of that. But James Hong is still alive. He could do the Lo Pan thing again, though. I think I would love that if they did that.
Yeah, maybe they will.
Interesting. All right. Is that your? I don't know. Did you have an official answer for that? Is that?
Oh, what was how do I even word the question? Let's see here. Will be pretty good. Pretty good.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Matt, I got one last one for you. I'm not sure if you saw this. The reception for the Neon Demon at Cannes, or Cannes, whatever the heck it is, was blank.
Concerning. I hear, from what I read, there were some hecklers. It didn't really go over very well. I know you have high hopes for this film.
It's a horror film from Nicholas Winding Refn, the guy who gave me the film that's in the Pantheon. I can mention it. I just can't include it in lists. Drive. And then the unfairly maligned.
Only God Forgives.
Only God Forgives. Thank you, which I love. That film gets better every time I see it. So him doing this horror film, if you're not familiar, the whole thing is about this young girl goes to LA to be a model. And there's some kind of weird thing going on where these older women try and steal her beauty supernaturally or something. I don't know. But it's supposed to be really disturbing at times, gorgeous, kind of like a Argento-esque use of color. And some of the reviews, Matt, have been like 5 stars, saying it's absolutely fantastic. Other people say it is a complete mess, which I guess is what you come to expect from reviewers of Refn's work now. From what I understand, though, and I tweeted this, and this tweet was favorited by Nicholas Winding Refn's, whoever it is, the promoter of the film. So thank you. But it's basically that there was people who were booing when the film started. When the Amazon logo, because it's being distributed by Amazon,
right.
When the Amazon logo showed up, people were booing and all that kind of thing. So clearly these people are idiots.
Yeah.
So I'm just applying a grain of salt to some of the critical reviews of this. Could it be a disaster? Sure. Yeah, entirely. But for me, the reception for the Neon Demon at Cannes or Cannes is, for me, I'm unconcerned. It's unconcerning. Divisive artistic films do this. And I think even that then is a success. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the whole point that Refn was trying to do from the get-go. So I'm not worried.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're gonna like it no matter what. And even if it has flaws, I think you're gonna look past those flaws and you're gonna focus on the positive. I'm calling it.
Here's what makes me nervous, because then we're going into fanboy territory, right? Where I'm just gonna like whatever the guy does.
Right.
Which I don't want to be that guy. And there are issues with Only God Forgives. There are. But overall, the visceral experience of the walking nightmare that movie works for me.
Well, I'll have to check it out, and I'll have to tell you if you're wrong or right. So
please do.
Since I'm the final arbiter of what's right and wrong.
So that's all I had.
Okay.
That's TFR Libs. Do you have better fill in the blanks for us? Not even just the examples, but the actual answers. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, next week, what's up? Is it On the Waterfront for our classic series?
Yes, On the Waterfront. So we jump ahead almost 20 years, so we should see something hopefully very different.
All right, with a lot less racism, I hope.
Hopefully, or at least much more subtle.
I'll take I'll just take a little less racism at this point. And then I don't know what you're gonna do. Are you just gonna go straight to X-Men? I'm gonna do a double feature next Tuesday of The Nice Guys and Apocalypse.
Yeah, if I can fit them in, I will. I'll try.
I appreciate that. You're a trooper.
I know.
Look us up on Facebook and Twitter. You can watch the live show of the stream of the show, and then there's like a finalized version on YouTube. Just do a search for The First Run. And that's going to be the big show for this week. I'm going to take an extended break. And remember, The First Run, we got the meats.
Yeah, we do. Bye.
Okay. Good. Huh? Well? It stinks.
Wah, wah, wah.